My name is Candis Dyer, and this is Canna Corner. We are broadcasted live on the Candis Dyer Facebook page, as well as Relevant. You can hear the audio over there. You can see the video over here. And we are brought to you by WJAE 420 Radio. Wendy Love Edge and her wife, Angela, run that. And then, hey, Brandy. And then we, of course, KM 420 Radio, Miss Brandy Patrice. One of our wonderful ladies that run that. And then also the Human Solution International, which I am a part of the Texas chapter. So y'all go check them out as well. We have amazing show today. Oh yeah, and Relevant. I don't want to miss Relevant. Brought to you by Relevant as well. We have Miss Kerry Cannon coming on the show today. And I'm going to go ahead and add her. Admit. Heck yeah. Here she is, Miss Kerry Cannon. How you doing, love? She might have it muted. Let me see. I'll ask her to unmute. Hell yeah, y'all. As y'all see, she's got the picture, the one team, one dream, freelanceglore.com. It won't let me unmute. I wonder if I can unmute you. Of course not. Okay, I'm going to try to put you in the waiting room again, love, and then try to add you again, and we'll see if it'll let you unmute. Maybe it was a glitch. There we go. Hey, it must have been a glitch. Weird. Didn't want to let you unmute.
No, it told me that only you could do it.
That is crazy.
Technology, eh?
I know, right? So I'm really excited to talk to you today. I know you've got a lot of plant prisoners to tell us about. What I'm going to basically do is just let you have the floor and let you talk to our listeners and tell them what it is that you do.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know me, I advocate mainly for Lance Glore. Lance is serving a 10-year federal prison sentence for legal medical cannabis in Washington State. How I got involved in doing that is I'm from Southern California. I had moved up to Washington and briefly after became aware of a trial going on for a man who was facing prison time for medical cannabis. I was able to attend one day of trial for court support, and I was just blown away at the testimony being given against him. I was there, as other people who were there will recall, that a federal officer was talking about how he tried to get into one of Lance's dispensaries and was turned away at the door because he didn't have the proper paperwork or recommendation. And then he talked about how he went to a doctor, got the recommend, came back, and was then allowed in because now he was a legal patient. And his big gripe with the dispensary was these young, cute girls and how skimpy they were dressed. He sounded like an old perv, like, okay, this is not against the law for young, cute girls to have jobs. And if an employer is going to allow them to dress how they want, who cares? We're not in the 50s. Get over it, you know?
Right.
So anyhow, at that, I wasn't able to go again for another day, but Lance, of course, he got convicted. He was facing many, many years, but the jury, he got sentenced to 10 years. So then fast forward a couple of years after that, I began working in recreational cannabis here in Washington State. I'm actually right now looking at the building where I started working at.
Wow.
And inside that building, I'd be sitting there trimming weed or rolling joints, thinking, man, that guy Lance, he's in prison. I'm working with the same plant he is. I'm getting a paycheck for it. I'm going home to my kid every night. he can't see his daughter. He's in prison. And it just kind of haunted me, and I didn't know what to do. His mom, Tracy Glore Pike, was on my Facebook friends list, and she was reaching out to the community for help. And I really didn't know at that time what I could do besides paint a shirt that said Freelance Glore. At that point in time, I had been a safer stenciler. Jared Alloway had sent me marijuana safer than alcohol stencils back in 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. So I was already doing that and painting those shirts and giving them away, pretty much following what he does. And there was a Cannabis Freedom March coming up here in Seattle. So I thought, I'll make a stencil. I'll paint some Freelance Glore shirts. I'll wear one, I'll give some away, and we'll just see what happens. And then this movement was kind of born.
I'll tell you what, it's a good movement. It's got several people out so far. And I know that I wanted to get you on today because of the Lance Glore issue. I know that he had corona, still has corona. You want to tell us a
Yes.
little bit about what's going on with him?
Sure. Hopefully I don't get too emotional. This is hard.
Right.
When I started advocating for Lance, he was a complete stranger to me. I had never had any direct communication with him. And so I kind of got to know him in a different kind of way. Through advocating for him, his patients would reach out to me on the Freelance Glore Instagram page and share their stories of how they don't know how they would have got school supplies if Lance didn't do a school drive and give their kids the things they needed for school. They didn't know how they would have had Thanksgiving dinner, cover funeral costs, all kinds of stuff he did that was good for the community. So it's really interesting to get to know somebody through other people instead of what they tell you. And man, I tell you what, the community at large is suffering without people like Lance Glore there to help. Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, Lance has COVID. He also has a rare genetic condition. Sorry.
Oh, you're
I've
good.
got a little bit of a thing going on. Not COVID, thank goodness. And the prison is very short-staffed. They don't have enough personnel to take care of all of the prisoners there in Sheridan.
Right.
And with Lance's rare medical condition, most doctors in general, even in the free world, wouldn't know how to treat him. And it's too much to ask for prison staff to do it. So he's literally dying. And if we don't get him out soon, his 10-year federal prison sentence is going to turn into a de facto death sentence for cannabis.
Man, that is ridiculous. I mean, he's in there for a legal plant that he shouldn't be in there to begin with. This is everything that he did was legal. He wouldn't even let the FBI come in and get anything because he wasn't licensed. And so I mean, there should be no reason he's in there to begin with.
No, when he was investigated here in Washington State, it was by a dual task force, which was state and federal. The state part dropped all the charges against him, and the feds picked it up.
Right. Yeah, but and a lot of people don't understand that even though it's legal in their state, feds are still coming in and busting people, and they are charging them with it. People are like, "Oh, well, they'll get their stuff back." No, not if the feds come in and take your case. They will not, and it's a big problem. And we really need to get the MORE Act passed, this federal bill that's coming through. Even though there's so many limitations and stuff that they're putting in these that. That's a whole nother issue.
That's a whole nother issue. And my idea for federal legalization is we just hound our representatives, the people who are supposed to work for us and represent them, and tell them repeal all cannabis laws,
Right.
Release all cannabis prisoners, expunge all records. Like, I don't think we don't need this bunch of laws and Prohibition 2.0 that still feeds the prison industrial complex.
Exactly.
Keeps
They're
people
making
going
money.
to prison.
They're setting it up to where they're going to make bukus of money, and then the people who are basically in prison for what they're selling now can't even grow it because they're federal, and they're saying that if you have a federal case that you can't be around it. I mean, it's just crazy.
it's insane. It's madness. It's like, I just wish we could all get together, get on the same page and really end this. Cause I know we could, just like people did with alcohol prohibition way back in the day.
Yes, we can. We can do it. And we just got to get together, like you said, and do it together and not take no for an answer, man. So when
Right.
Lance Glore has been in prison for how long now?
Let's see, I think 6 years.
God, that's just fucking ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so he's got corona now and he's really, really sick.
He's
And
really sick. I mean, they're so short staffed that 3 days after he was to be given an oxygen treatment, he hadn't gotten it yet. And I haven't talked to him, but he's talked to his mom and he says it's not for the staff not caring or not trying. They're just too overwhelmed.
right, right. They're not given the means to work with that at all. So he
Right.
basically it's a death sentence for him if he can't get the medical
Compassionate release.
right, right. So
Right.
what are you doing about that? What the compassionate release? I know that you've got what do you call it? I can't find the word. Something going on where you got pictures that you are having
Oh,
people send in.
right. I'm going to send them into the decision makers who can decide if they want to approve or not a compassionate release petition for him. Put some pressure on them. When Craig Cecil, who was serving life, had a compassionate release that was denied, Sherry Sicard organized an effort where a bunch of us got together and emailed the BOP.
Right.
That warden, and I'm sure there was other people who applied some public pressure as well. That warden had gotten a call from Washington, D.C., telling him it might be a good idea to reconsider Craig's compassionate release petition. And he was sent home.
Yes, he was. He is home now. And man, I love Craig. He's an amazing guy. I'm so glad he was able to get out. And so this
Me
stuff does
too.
work. If we voice our opinion and to our lawmakers and you sending in these pictures asking to release these people, it is working. And so how can somebody and what can somebody do to help with this campaign? That's the word I was looking for, to help.
Right now, the big thing is the pictures. Just writing a simple free Lance Glore, save Lance Glore photo, writing a free Lance Glore or save Lance Glore sign, taking a photo with it and bringing to my or Tracy Glore Pike's attention. I will get it uploaded in the album on my Facebook page. I do it there because then they get shared and people become more aware.
Right.
And then people know, okay, like, wow, I can take a sign too. This little tiny action can help save a man's life.
Definitely. And what she's asking you to do is just get a paper, write hashtag free Lance Glore, and then also save Lance Glore because of his issue with medical concerns. He's in there for a life sentence if we can't get him health care like he needs.
Totally. And then I'll arrange the photos into collages and send them to the people who can make the decision on a compassionate release for Lance.
That's
and
awesome.
Hopefully this will do the trick and we'll get him home. I always look back to Peggy and Glenn in their case, and I wish I could have been there at their sentencing, but I'm so glad that other people were able to tell me that the judge literally held up the binder of support photos and named me. And it's not important that he named me, but the important part is that those hit him. This was a judge who had well-documented corruption surrounding him.
Right.
This was not a very lenient, nice, plant-friendly man. This was somebody who obviously was hit in his heart by these photos. Seeing faces of people from around the world coming together to say, don't lock these people up.
Exactly. And it's proof that it works. If the judge has it at the court case and he's holding it up, then that's proof that they're watching and they're listening to what we're saying.
Right. And FCI Sheridan, and for anybody who's wondering what FCI is, that's Federal Correctional Institute. It's in Sheridan, Oregon. They've had some bad press lately. The Lisa Hayes, the Oregon Federal Public Defender, she got an investigation going on that happened fairly recently when Lance was actually taken from the prison to the hospital. There's been so many cases of COVID there. There's been some deaths. So
wow.
I think the last thing that they want is a PR nightmare.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he didn't even do anything wrong to be sentenced to death. Is ridiculous. And he's been in there 6 years at a 10-year sentence. And normally, after half of their sentence, they look at that and they let him out anyway. So it's time to let him out. Come on, y'all.
It's time to let him out. It's time for us, the people, to be outraged that our fellow citizens are not only being caged over a plant, but also when they get out, that they still have lifelong repercussions from a victimless crime.
Exactly. Because now they're felons and they can't get help with food stamps or apartmenting, and they don't got a job when they get out. And we just expect them to do better and be rehabilitated. And it's not like that. They're more like institutionalized when they get out. They don't.
It's like they have to transition back to life.
Exactly. Prison is a whole new world, y'all. It's a whole new set of rules that you gotta live by, and you get indoctrinated with those rules. And so it's hard to reset and come back to the real world once you get out, for sure. Well,
totally.
Heck yeah, I know you got several other people that you're campaigning for. Do we want to talk a little bit about them?
Yes, and for the Lance Glore, just ask everybody to keep an eye out on social media. We'll be releasing more calls to action as they're appropriate. The White House comment line is now operational again, where volunteers are coming in and answering calls. So we will be putting out a call to action for people to call the White House in support of Lance's pending clemency petition. One way or another, we got to get him free and we got to get him home.
Awesome. That's great.
Okay,
then
then
I will be putting the link to your profile in both the chats here when I get off, so they'll be able to contact you and message you their picture.
Thank you so much. And if anybody sees any of my call to action images, steal them. If anybody wants to steal my ideas for somebody else, please do. There are so many people who need help, and unfortunately, there's not enough people to help.
Right. There's so many in there.
Right. For me, this is volunteer. This is on my time and my dime, and I wish I could do more, but my plate's it's full.
Really get it, love. We can only do so much alone, and that's why we all need to come together and just start working together. We can get so much more done that way.
Right. And if like everybody adopted a plant prisoner or somebody who's going through a case, asking somebody else to take 2 minutes of their time. I timed it once, how long it took me to write a sign and take a photo. 2 minutes. 2 minutes we can do to help somebody else's effort to make sure this person doesn't get incarcerated. 2 minutes of our time to make sure this person gets home. 2 minutes is not a lot of time.
No, it's not at all. Heck yeah.
So you want to talk about Aaron and Adela Wisdom?
Yes, for sure.
They're facing 11 years each in prison for the legally required destruction of wild hemp on their family farm in Missouri while running for political office.
Yeah, they basically put a target on her back, and they were flying over her land, right?
Yes.
Oh, and just because she was running and she was trying to make a difference and make a change, and this is how they do. When you get a voice and you start making a difference, they try to shut you up.
Right, and make an example out of you also.
Yep. So I know she went to court. She's got another court case coming up.
Court date tomorrow. She thinks it's just going to be continued.
Right.
But still, this has been dragging on for a couple of years. They were raided twice. When they were arrested, they were actually in the process of destroying wild hemp, which you're legally supposed to do.
Right.
Now, when I found out about all this, I'm a facts kind of person, and it's not that I don't ever take somebody's word, but it's like I want to investigate this more.
Right.
So I looked into Missouri law, and if somebody were not to destroy noxious weeds on their property, the proper legal way of dealing with that would be for the state to serve that person with a notice to
Right.
destroy those within, I believe, 15 days off the top of my head, but I could be a little bit off. They were never served anything like that. Nothing like that ever happened. Again, it was a dual task force, state and federal, that was, flying over above their property with a telescopic lens, looking at what they were doing. And then men in masks showed up who didn't identify themselves, who weren't wearing identifiable law enforcement uniforms, putting guns in their faces. So they had no idea what was going on.
Can you imagine that, y'all? I mean, just think about it for a minute. You're in your yard, you're minding your own business, and these people swarm in your backyard with no police, nothing on, with guns to your head. I mean, PTSD is definitely involved in this situation, I'm sure. And anybody having that would affect them. Like that's horrible. And then not to even no letter, no nothing, no. I mean, they had a target on their back, and they're trying to shut them up. Is exactly what's going on, which is why we got to do something about it. And so, what time is their
Totally.
court? And it's in Missouri, right?
It's in Missouri. I don't recall the exact time it is tomorrow. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I know that Adela is in the comments, so maybe she can put her court time and date in there for us.
Okay. Hi, Adela.
Tracy's there. Adela's there. Brandy's
Hi,
there.
Tracy. Hi, Brandy. Hey, everybody.
Love them all.
So we're doing the photos too for Aaron and Adela, asking people to write up a sign that says drop all charges against Aaron and Adela, and sending them into the court. Awesome. The interesting thing about this case is they're watching Adela so closely. Everything she posts on her timeline,
right,
they're adding it.
They're putting it into evidence. They're like using her
right
face as evidence. It's crazy.
Right. So I encourage people to, like, once a week even, just do a hashtag justice for the wisdoms and tag Adela, because we need them to know that people are aware and they care, and we do not want this to happen. We are not going to allow our people to be incarcerated over hemp.
For sure. And education is the key. So I would even say hashtag that, tag her in it, and then put an educational article in there so they can read.
Totally. and Adela has done that. I remember one time she made a post and she was like, drop your educational stuff there, which is awesome. Yeah. I love the way she thinks. It's more than just about her. She's also looking at the opportunity to educate these people who might not otherwise come across this information.
Heck yeah. I think she's the one that told me that when I had her on last, for sure. She's
nice. She's awesome. She's amazing people. And my activism kind of went the plant prisoner route because of Adela. When I first moved up here to Washington, it was right around Hemp Fest time. She and I have a mutual dear friend named Victoria, and Victoria was here and she was volunteering at Adela's booth and invited me to. So I did, and it really opened my eyes. I really learned a lot. And she still helps me. She mentors me. She gives me advice. She's just an amazing person. I just love her so much. And it's like an honor to advocate for her. She's done so much. She's so humble. I don't think she'll ever list all of her activism, involvements, and accomplishments, but she's done much.
Right.
She's done much. And a lot of us need to remember it's the people who came before us that have, paved the way to give us the freedoms that we have now.
Exactly. And it was even harder then when they started. Like we get targets on our back now, but just imagine what it was like when they first started speaking out. I mean, we owe them
totally.
a lot, for sure.
I mean, I had a target put on my back when I started in 2012 in my little desert town of Apple Valley, California, and medical marijuana was legal in California at that time. But still, somebody dared to speak up and say, we don't accept your ban on dispensaries. We want to bring them back. We don't want the little old ladies who are patients having to go buy their weed in the park and possibly get shot. Like, oh man, that gets you in trouble.
Exactly. They don't need to be out there. Nobody needs to be out there doing that. We ought to be able to have safe access to our meds, and we ought to know what's being put in them. I would rather have homegrown so that we can grow our own for sure. At least then
Me
you know what's
too.
going in there.
Me too. And that's something that still not every adult in Washington state has.
Right.
It's
Well,
ridiculous.
there's just something about getting your hands in the dirt and growing your own meds too. That's a healing factor. You know what I mean? Like getting your hands in the
It's
dirt.
therapy.
Yes, exactly. And it helps too. So it's a great thing. And you get to know the insides and outs. You know, you learn all about it. You learn what certain strands do for certain issues. And it's a great option to have to grow your own. So definitely want that here in Texas.
Totally. And I've been a grower before. I've grown my own medicine back in California, and then my recreational job here, I was a grower for a while. And I'll say something that most growers won't. It's a weed. It is not that hard to grow.
Right.
If you can grow a plant, you can grow cannabis. Don't let anyone trick you into thinking it's some really complicated process. It's not.
Exactly. It's very simple, very easy.
It's a weed.
Well, heck yeah. I know that there's another person, Jonathan Wall.
Yes, Jonathan Wall. I have recently became familiar with him. This poor guy, he's 26 years old. I've been talking with his mom, Mitzi, and she's just the sweetest lady. So she shared Jonathan's story with me. They're from Maryland, but he had moved to California wanting to get involved in cannabis out there. He was out there for years, and suddenly, after years, there was rumors coming that there was going to be an indictment against him.
Oh, wow.
Before anything formal was put against him, he went to South America to do some charity work, I believe in Guatemala. And then Corona hit, so he kind of got stuck there. And so he was kind of scared, like, I need to get back. There's talk of this thing coming against me.
Right.
But then he couldn't travel. And when he finally made it back, he turned himself in because then I guess something formal was brought against him. Because he had left the country, they immediately placed him in custody and refused him bail.
Oh my God.
So he's been in a supermax prison for 2 years now.
Oh, wow. And what'd they get him with?
Conspiracy. He's being charged with conspiracy.
Conspiracy to what?
Conspiracy. I believe it's, they were saying that he was taking cannabis from California to Maryland. There is not a shred of evidence in this case. This is all somebody's word.
And even if he did, it was his medicine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if he did, we should be allowed to take our medicine like we're allowed to take our Oxycontin over the borders. You know what I mean? So that we can have
right.
He's in a legal state. But yeah, even if he did, it wouldn't be that's crazy, man. In Guatemala, man, those laws, I imagine how those jails are. And that's crazy. So
well, he didn't have any legal problems in Guatemala. It's all here in the US.
Oh, so they charged him here?
Yes, but because he had left the country, they considered him, I'm guessing they considered him a flight risk. So they have allowed him no bail. So he's been in a supermax prison. Oh, so that's what the worst of the worst criminals, the rapists, the murderers, the violent people. And you've got this 26-year-old guy who's being kept from his family, from his friends, all because somebody, and who knows why this person named him and several other people. Right. Maybe they are in trouble themselves, and to get out of trouble, they just want to name names, and that's all it takes.
Yep. That's what they do.
So,
That's their plan. They get you, they take you in a room and they say, well, we can let you off if you give us such and such. And you become a narc, or you get, and or they put you in prison for 20 years. I mean, and when you got a family, sometimes, they do. I would never do that, but sometimes people just feel like that's the best option and just narc people out.
right. Or they're scared of going to prison, or they just have no morals and think, oh, okay, if I just throw other people under the bus, I'm good.
It's so,
Like they lack empathy and courage and integrity.
yeah, exactly. And what the there's that word again. I got a brain fart. What?
Campaign.
Yes, campaign for him.
Right now, also collecting photos, free Jonathan Wall. And I'm, like I said, I've been talking with his mom and working with her, waiting to hear from his attorney, because I'd like to involve the people directly who will be directly affected by the activism I do on their behalf, or somebody who can represent them. And I'm going to see if we can get these photos for Jonathan Wall entered as evidence on a federal case. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. That would be. So yeah, you also write those 3 hashtags up on a piece of paper, take a picture with you holding it, and send them in to Kerry Cannon. I'll put all the information in the chat after I get off here. There are so many. We're just talking about 3 people who are in prison right now for cannabis. And if you follow Kerry Cannon, anytime she runs into somebody like that and starts a campaign, then you can get involved with it with her and get all that information out for sure.
And if you know somebody who's, especially, there's not too many people who are doing much for people who are going through a case to stop them from being incarcerated.
Right.
This has been something Adela's reached out to several different groups and organizations, and they're told, oh, we just do post conviction.
Right.
So, and I don't, this is kind of like my thing. What I feel like I can't get across well enough or often enough, I'm not sure, is that it's about the power of the single person and the power of the people when we come together, of what we can accomplish.
Definitely. That's why I like that one team, one dream hashtag you use. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that was like Lance's thing with his dispensaries and his, the workers and everybody.
Right.
So just adopted into the movement and turned it in, we'll keep that going for a greater purpose.
For sure.
And anybody, I'm nobody special. I say all the time, I'm the nobody who decided to be the somebody to do something about it. I'm not special. I don't have tons of resources. It's, a lot of times I think people think that you need to do more, you need to be more before you can do something. And that's absolutely false.
Nope.
I've been dealing with homelessness for the past 4 years now and still kept going.
Man.
So, and I don't want anyone to feel bad about that. It's just kind of the way life goes. And
right.
That's a whole nother topic of we need to get our society in order so that people who do work can afford a place to live. But even with these circumstances, there's times that I was living in my car, still making photo collages with all of your photos you sent to me. And that kept me going during that time. That kept me from falling into deep depression and hopelessness. To see everybody's faces, everybody come together. It was just beautiful. And you helped a lot, Candice. So thank you. And Texas people have done so much. And I appreciate you all. And you help yourself by helping others.
Exactly. And that's just it. That, I was in a deep depression and anxiety, and helping cannabis patients and people learn about cannabis is what kept me out of it. So you're exactly right. When we get our minds off ourselves and start trying to help other people, it helps you. It really does.
It really does. It's so easy to get caught up in what's wrong in your life. And sometimes those things in our life are huge, but to sit there and to just focus on only them makes it so much bigger. And no one needs to suffer like that.
For
And I
sure.
encourage people, if you think my ideas are good, you want to steal them, you're not stepping on my toes. The way I see it, toes, my feet have never been stepped on while I was walking.
Right.
Toes only get stepped on when you're not in motion.
There
So
you go.
don't be afraid that I will think you're copying me. No, if I inspire you to do something, go out and do it. And don't let anybody stop you. Plenty of people have tried to stop me and told me it was a waste of time and worthless. Peggy and Glenn aren't in prison, so obviously it did something.
Right. Exactly. No, you're a great person, Kerry. I love everything you do. You're doing a great
Thank
job.
you.
Don't ever let people negative talk you out of it. Just keep going, do you, and brush shoulders off.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, you think you're gonna tell me I can't do it? It almost makes me stronger, like makes me
Right.
go harder.
Yeah. Especially us stubborn people. Tell me I can't do something,
For
please.
real, I'll show you. I did want to mention one thing that Jonathan's mom has shared with me is how hard it's been for her to get anybody to support Jonathan. She actually kept a list of different journalists and organizations and everybody she's reached out to help him. And most people didn't even bother to reply to her. He's looking at 10 years to life for cannabis conspiracy, for an accusation. No physical evidence,
True.
nothing. It's
No,
an
nothing.
accusation. And a bunch of people got together, her and some family friends and whatnot, and they actually got an ad in the Washington Post. It
Okay.
says, I believe the headline is, "Who will be the last person incarcerated for cannabis?" After that ad came out, then all of a sudden, these writers who ignored her before, they picked up the story.
Right.
High Times published it. And it's just sad. I can imagine that was not a very inexpensive ad.
Right.
And most people don't have the resources. She's a lovely person. I've been on calls with her where people have offered to send Jonathan commissary funds, and she's like, no, give those to the people whose families don't have the means to do so.
Aw.
So this is an awesome lady, and she, they've put together little memes and stuff to share on social media where it's not just highlighting Jonathan, it's highlighting other plant prisoners as well.
That's
So
amazing. That is
before this happened to her son, she really didn't know the magnitude of the problem of people being incarcerated for a plant. But now she's fighting for everybody. And that's beautiful and awesome. And it's great to see somebody turn a negative into a positive.
for sure.
But now,
And I know you
I'm
have
sorry, go ahead.
addresses to all these people we're talking about, right? So can people hit you up for their information to write them a letter?
Yes, who's better at having addresses than me is Adela Wisdom.
Ella. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll put her information in there. That way, I know we're coming up with a huge list too as well. And we're giving like everybody 10 prisoners to start writing regularly. So I'll hit her up too and see if there's anybody on her list that ain't on our list, and maybe we can collaborate them. That way we can we're telling people, here's your 10 people, here's your 10 people. It's a lot that way everybody gets hit instead of a lot of letters to one person, you know what I mean? Kind of divvy them out.
Right. Yeah, because there does tend to be prisoners who are more well-known than others, and we don't want the other ones forgotten. Adela also has a website, adelawisdom.com, and on there are a bunch of images that she's made with information and addresses for inmates,
Awesome.
as well as a petition for her and Aaron to get all their charges dropped.
Cool. So yeah, y'all go look up Adela Wisdom, and all these links I'll put in there as soon as I get off here. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about that we haven't touched base on yet? And I just wanted to thank you, Kerry, for being on today. I know you don't feel well and you're still powering through this.
Oh, thank you. It's been 14 months now, so it's like I got to keep going. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, anytime. for real. Anytime there's some case that you need to get the word out about, just hit me up. We do this every Monday, so I'm not short of Mondays.
Awesome. Well, as of now, I think between Lance Glore, Dylan Aaron, and John Wall, I don't know how much more I can do besides if I hear of somebody try to, share their story. But there also is Chris Martin.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of this one yet.
Okay, Chris Martin, he's in Arizona. He's a former plant prisoner who is filing for a pardon through the governor this week. So I did recently put out a call to action, I guess a little premature because I thought he already had filed, asking people to call the governor's office and leaving a polite, pardon Chris Martin, thank you message. For people who might doubt if this would really work, Centoya Brown, that is how she was released from her prison sentence. And her legal mess is by people being outraged enough that they called the governor that state. And we can do the same for Chris Martin. When people complete their prison sentences for a plant, they're still punished the rest of their life. It does not go away unless they get a pardon.
Exactly, because they're now a felon in most cases. And there's so much that felons cannot do right now. And the fact that you can even get a felony for cannabis is just ridiculous. Like
insane. It's
crazy.
A plant, a healing plant.
Yeah.
And Chris is a great guy. I mean, he does a lot to help his community despite what he's gone through. He has a store in Arizona. They have CBD products there. He has programs to help other people. He's got a Christmas drive that he's doing right now to help not just like prisoners' kids, but also the homeless kids in his community and whatnot. Great, great guy. His wife, Andy, she's amazing too. Just awesome people who give so much back.
Right. And when you take a man that's got a family and put him in jail because of cannabis, that destroys that whole family. That takes one of the incomes out. That takes the daddy away from the kids. I mean, it's just it's crazy, and it's causing a major crisis in America. All these kids without parents. No victim, no crime, y'all. Seriously. Like, you cause more harm by locking them up than you would ever know.
Right. And it's like you were saying about the kids, like, what does that do to them? What kind of trauma does that put on them? What kind of lifelong effects do they have from that? Caging people for cannabis isn't keeping us safer.
No, it's
it
not.
Is doing more harm than good.
Yes.
And it's time we all stand up and remind these people, you represent us. You don't dictate our rights to us. You represent us.
Yes.
We do not consent to people being caged for cannabis. We do not consent to people being prosecuted for cannabis. We do not consent to having to pay for your freedom to use this as medicine. Like, if I had it my way, you wouldn't even have to get a medical marijuana card.
Right.
If you needed it, you could use it. I mean, it used to be that way.
Yep. I believe in recreational. It hasn't killed anybody. I don't want big pharma taking control of my meds. They did enough harm with the pharmaceuticals as far as it came to me. And we don't need to give them more money.
Totally. And their pharmaceuticals are killing one person every 19 minutes. And not always from misuse or abuse. Oftentimes interactions, oftentimes people taking it exactly as prescribed.
Yep.
Marinol, their THC pill, last time I researched the deaths on that, it was 4.
Oh my God.
And the plant in its natural form with a 10,000 year recorded history use has killed nobody.
Yep. Wow. Crazy. Well, thank you so much, love, for coming on. I know you don't feel well. I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to what you were doing. Thank you so much for all the work you're putting in.
Oh, thank you, Candice, and thank you for all you do too.
Oh, for sure. I don't know any other way.
I feel it. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Y'all have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, I'm gonna put her in the waiting room. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kerry Cannon, for coming on. Thank you all for listening. And remember, you know, these people are in there. I know we were taught our whole lives by Dare that this is a dangerous plant. It's a gateway drug. It makes you psychotic. It makes, one of the things was, it makes white women that are wives sleep with black men. All these things are lies. Lies. It's all called reefer madness. And so now we're having to reteach all these people that got indoctrinated by this DARE program that it's a good medicine. It hasn't killed anybody. It's helping people get off of drugs. It's an exit drug, not a gateway drug. And we are destroying families by putting these people in prison for this. And just seriously, y'all, if you can, contact Adela, get a list of some prisoners, give them a Christmas. You can't send cards to some places, but write them a little Christmas letter. Let them know they're not forgot and that we're out here fighting for them. Much love and respect to Kerry Cannon and Adela. Y'all are doing a fantastic job, for sure. And I'll definitely put all the links in the comments here as soon as I get off. I did want to go ahead and tell everybody about a couple events before I get off. I know I'm running out of time. Live Free Music and Arts Festival in Arkansas on the 23rd. I'm so excited. We will be heading that way on the 22nd and coming back on the 24th. Heading that way. The Human Solution International is sponsoring. KM 420 Radio is sponsoring, and Willow Creek Springs is sponsoring the event. So all of us will be out there. Miss Farah, and this is October 23rd. It's from 1 o'clock. Am I right on that? 1 o'clock to 10 p.m. Why am I thinking 10? Maybe because of the Hemp Festival. Okay. I will put the link to the event in the comments though, so y'all will be able to find it and get y'all's tickets if y'all want to go. They're going to have music, vendors. They have a lot of art, what do you call it? Art things going on. I know they said something about giant octopus that glow at night coming on and stuff. So I guess it's going to be like a underwater sea kind of thing. A lot of people who are doing art will have booths out there. It's just going to be a great time, y'all. So y'all, Wendy Love Edge is going to be there, and Relevant. It's just going to be so much fun. So if y'all can go on October 23rd, 1 to 10 in Arkansas, head that way. Rena McCain with KM 420 Radio will be going to the Texas Hemp Harvest Festival, and it's the same day, the 23rd. That's in Austin, Texas, from 10 to 11 p.m. 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. We had them on, I believe, last week, Sweet Cincy, and they are having a contest for the best CBD, and so if you want to be a judge, I'm going to put the link in the comments so y'all can find out all the information on that. Texas Hemp Convention, y'all, is coming back around. We went last year. I am so excited to be able to cover the event this year. It's going to be November 20th to the 21st. 10 o'clock is the starting time. 5 p.m. is the ending time at K. Bailey but Hutchinson Convention Center in Dallas, Texas. There's going to be so many vendors out there, so many different CBD stuff. Last time there was farm equipment that you use to get your hemp. It was just badass, y'all. So y'all definitely don't want to miss this year. And then next week we have Adam Azenberg coming on Canna Corner. So y'all don't want to miss that. And I did want to take some time to talk about little Addie. Man, he was with Team MHX, Mountain High 10 Radio. He passed away a couple weeks ago in El Paso County Jail. They just had a memorial for him on the 9th. My heart goes out to his mom. He was put in jail for cannabis. They kept his insulin from him for 4 days. Come to find out that may not be what killed him. He actually has died of blunt force trauma. So I'm not sure if what happened as far as that goes. If maybe his insulin caused him, not his sugars caused him to pass out and hit his head, or if foul play was involved. I don't know yet. When I find out more information, I will let y'all know. She is fighting his case. So stay tuned for information on how we can help with this, y'all. Little Addie was a great guy. I had met him once when we went to Colorado with Farah. Him and his friend came, and he's just amazing. He made me laugh, smile when he was on with the Sarge on Mountain High 10 radio. He was just a great guy. He didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves this. And Craig Cecil's got a federal case going on because his state case was denied. They said that because a government official building said that he didn't need his insulin for 6 weeks as a punishment, that they were going to let it go because they weren't going to get involved with another government case that said no, he didn't need, or whatever. They weren't going to fight with what was said, what was done. He was 6 weeks without his medication. I don't know if they put him in the hole, but it was a punishment. And then he was without his insulin for 6 weeks, and he may be losing his leg because of it. So they said that they weren't going to do anything about it. The state did. So now he's going to the federal case and fighting that. So stay tuned for more information on that. The point is, this happens all the time. Insulin is a life-saving drug. It's not something that you can take if you want to, or take it, you know what I mean? It's not something that you can skip. It should be totally illegal for the police or for the jail system to deny them their meds. That's not right. It's not like it's a Xanax or oxycodone or whatever, which is bullshit, because if people are prescribed that, they should be given that in jail too. But this is a life-saving medication. Insulin, y'all. And lots of people are suffering. Who knows how many people have died? I remember I watched a case not too long ago. I can't remember the guy's name, but I know that he took cannabis for seizures. He ended up in prison. They sat there and watched him have seizures and laugh. Maybe if we give him a joint, he'll stop. Laughing, making fun of his seizure, y'all. That's how pathetic these people are. Crazy. That just pisses me off. But yeah, they came in, they took all his cannabis away, told him that he couldn't have it. That was keeping his seizures at bay. So when they put him in the prison, of course, stress causes seizures, and he had a seizure there in the prison cell and was laughed at for it. Just think about that for a bit. What if this is your kid, your granddaughter? What if they, I don't know, have a kid that took a toy off the shelf and you didn't realize it, and you walked out and the alarms go off and you're caught for stealing something over a certain amount of money, and you're put in prison, and now you're not allowed your insulin, so you die, and your daughter is without a mom. That's just one example of what could happen. I mean, some of these people don't even deserve to be in jail. They didn't even do anything wrong. And then when you speak about cannabis cases, people are making money on that right now, y'all, and we are putting people in jail for that still. No victim, no crime. Jury nullification, y'all. If you get a jury summons, do not avoid it. Go. If you come across a cannabis case, say not guilty. One person can say not guilty and get that person off. They're going to try to bully you and tell you you can't do that. Stand your ground. Say not guilty, and the case will be thrown out. That's how we can fight this right now. We can fight this by taking a picture. Hashtag free Lance Glore. Save Lance Glore. Hashtag free John Wall. Hashtag pardon Adela and Aaron Wisdom. Send that picture off to Kerry Cannon, and let's try to make a change, y'all. Heck yeah. Well, I love each and every one of y'all. It's 8 o'clock. My time is up. You can catch the replay of this on KM 420 Radio on Sundays, or the replay on WJAE 420 Radio on Wednesdays. And you can also find it on YouTube on Canna Corner. Love y'all very much. Y'all have a wonderful night. Peace.